Hi, welcome to Dismiss to Doctor podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bria J. I am welcomed today by a very special guest who's also a friend. Please welcome me as I allow you all to welcome Miss Kristen.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am good. How are you, friend?
Good. I am
Good.
so grateful and blessed that you decided to join me today. I've been looking forward to our episode, and I'm just so happy that you are here. I feel like I don't get to see you as often, so I'm just so happy that you are here.
Girl, I am glad you thought of me and invited me out. I love this.
Yes. So I would love for our audience to just get to know you. So kind of give us your background, what school you went to, what you currently do. Give us your spiel.
Oh, girl, that's a long story, but we're gonna make it short. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, like she said, my name is Kristen. I started my collegiate journey at Western Michigan University. I was there for 2 years. Decided that school wasn't for me, so I transferred. Took a year off. Then I transferred to Kent State. That's where I got my bachelor's of exercise science, and I minored in sports medicine. Took a year off after that. Went to grad school at Aurora University, and I got my master's in exercise science. And then I also, after that, went back for my master's in athletic training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today.
Yes.
So what made you want to go into athletic training?
I've always had a love for sports.
Okay.
So I've played sports all my life, and I've never really had major injuries until my senior year in high school, where I got a very bad concussion playing volleyball. And I didn't have any athletic trainers to basically tell me what was right, what I should do, what I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So one night I had a volleyball game, got the concussion. It was very bad. The doctors were like, kind of take a break, but I was at practice the next day. And I feel like I still have some residual like effects from that. I do get bad migraines. So just not having that and being able to be that person for somebody was kind of like the goal. So that's kind of how I got into it.
How was your process with applying to athletic training school?
It was so I actually started out at Western Michigan as an athletic training student, and then I decided to switch when I went to Kent State because they didn't have it. So after I graduated, I was like, you know what? Let's kind of try to get back into it, and it was not that bad because I've previously got my master's in exercise science from Aurora, so that's where I went for my athletic training degree, and they saw all of my accomplishments, and they basically already had like my rundown.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, let's give you a shot.
And then when you applied, was it like your first time applying? Or had you applied previously prior to
That was
you
my first
changing?
time
Okay.
applying for the grad school. So athletic training has changed over now to where you can no longer get a bachelor's degree. You have to have a master's
Oh, really?
in order
Okay.
to sit for the exam.
Okay.
So that was my first time applying to a master's program.
Okay. Well, congrats to you on
Yes.
getting it on your first time. I feel like
Yes,
a lot of
thank
people
you.
don't talk about how hard it is to get into school, period. So
Oh, yeah.
congrats on that because it's a lot that goes into it. You have to
Definitely.
like send your transcripts. You have to have your letters of recommendation. You have to have your observation hours. There's a lot that goes into it, and then it's also very expensive.
Oh, yes.
Very expensive to apply to school. So shout out to you.
Yes. Thank
What
you.
do you feel like was kind of the difference between undergrad and then when you were in grad school?
I feel like the difference was time and just being closer to the school. So when I was an undergrad, living on campus, you're right there, you're right in the thick of it, or even you're probably like down the street. But with athletic training and going to Aurora University, that school is an hour away from me. So I would have to either drive that hour or get on the metro is what I would usually do. And that was like the big difference, having that long commute and not being able to use that time. So that was kind of hard.
Did you find yourself kind of using that time to also study, like during those commutes? Did you have time to do that?
Definitely when I was on the metro, more so in the morning.
Yeah.
Because when I got on the metro after school, I was literally there for, that was probably like an 8-9 hour day. So from like 8 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. and I would be tired. So I would
Yeah.
probably just go to sleep like after, but definitely on the way, especially like if I had a test or something.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I feel like on those long commutes, it's like you have to make the best of your time.
Oh yeah.
Like if I'm driving, I'm gonna try to play something in the car, at least to listen
Yes.
to it. Or if I'm on the train and I can actively pull out my phone, do an app, do a game, do a Quizlet, something. Like I'm trying to do something so
Yes.
that I'm making this productive. Because it's already gonna take me an hour to get there. So like I need to study
Exactly.
anyway. So might as well utilize this time.
Exactly. I remember there was a time where I was literally on the train. Like I would sit at the top.
Yeah.
If you're from Chicago and take the
You
metro, you
know.
know. I was sitting at the top and I literally had my pants rolled up and I was
Yeah.
drawing like the bones and the ligaments and everything. People were looking at me like I was crazy. I'm like, I have tested study for it.
Yeah, if it sticks and it works, it works. Like I don't
Yes.
care who's looking at me crazy.
Exactly.
So you would say that sounds like you're more of like a visual learner.
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm more like that visual hands-on. I have to see it and I have to know how it works
Mm-hmm.
in order to kind of like soak in that information.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that already going into school, or did you kind of just like figure that out?
I figured that out.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I figured that out during that second master's program. Like the first
Mm-hmm.
one was online and I pretty much kind of knew some of the information since it
Yeah.
was still that exercise science background, but like going for athletic training, I was like, oh, this is like a different ball game. I have to be on
Yeah.
my P's and Q's for this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely a time.
Yeah. So kind of talk us through how you felt like your athletic training program was. Like what was the grade requirement in order to pass? Like how did, because I don't, it's a 2-year program.
Mm-hmm.
So how the transition or how the first year went to the second year, kind of talk us through kind of how athletic training school was.
Okay. So, there were a lot of changes during the time when I was at the program.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I first got into the program, you had to have, I want to say, a C in each class, and then you had to have a C in each class, and you had to pass the practicals with a C.
Okay.
So
And then what's considered a
practicals,
C for you all? Was it still the
um,
average, like what a regular
yeah,
C is? Okay.
yeah, pretty much. And then I want to say during the second semester, that January when we got back,
Mm-hmm.
they basically rewrote the whole bylaws or whatever you want to call them,
Mm-hmm.
and basically made it to where you had to have a B average in the class, and then you had to have a B average on the practicals in the class. And yeah, that's kind of where everything kind of turned left for me in that
Mm-hmm.
program, because I only made it through the first year and then I got dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little shake up for me. But it definitely was because they changed up some stuff
Yeah.
during that. And then, yeah.
Was there a grace period for when they changed it, or was it like, okay, we're changing it right now, this is going into effect like this day or the next day?
Yeah, there was no grace period. They
Okay.
had us sign the papers and they were like, yeah, this is how it is from now on.
Okay. And there was no like explanation as to why they were changing the requirements.
I'm not going to say no. I genuinely just don't remember
Okay.
off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure they just probably wanted to make it more strict. Because I remember they were talking about the class before us
Mm-hmm.
and how a good amount of them did not pass the BOC,
The exam.
which is the certification exam for athletic training.
Mhm.
A lot of them did not pass the BOC first round,
Mhm.
which is kind of common. A lot of people don't pass it, but they were like, yeah, we're going to make things more strict. We want a higher rate. Basically, I feel like they just wanted to put it on their website, to be completely honest. But, yeah.
And you know what? Like, now that you say that, I feel like when I was in PT school, the same thing happened to me. Like, initially, the grading scale was you couldn't get below what was our considered a C? Like, anything below, so initially it was a 78. So you had to get a 78% or higher on everything. And then they changed it to an 80%. Right when, like, in the midst of the program, sounded kind of similar to what you're saying.
Oh, wow.
And that change, it was hard for me as well, because I felt like, not that I was used to getting a lower grade, it's just that grad school is harder.
Oh,
And
yes.
so you have like your certain classes that you're going to do better in, and you have your certain classes that, okay, might be a little bit more of a challenge. And I felt like when I got dismissed the first time, it was because I got a 70 or 77, or it was like something that was like really, really close to what it was supposed to be. And it was, oh, actually, no, I switched it. There initially it was reverse. So initially our minimum was at 80%. And then when I came back, they changed it to a 78%. So then I was the reverse of you. I was pissed because I'm like, if I would have gotten that, because I got like a 78 on my one final that I got dismissed for that class. So it was like, if I would have just started later, I would have been able to proceed and not get dismissed.
Exactly.
You know, it was kind of like the reverse. It was like they started off with it being higher, and then they changed it to lower. So I'm not really sure on what their reasoning was for that. I just know that it was just like really, like, to your point, they have to send out the bylaws again. They have to make sure that you sign in, that you're in agreement. And I don't know no better, so I'm just signing, you know. I'm just signing because that's what they told me to do,
right.
you know. And so to your point, I just remember being so upset because I'm just like, you know what? But I'm in a space now where I'm just like, things happen for a reason. I am grateful for the season that I went through in order to get to this place that I am right now, where I get to talk to you. But I do remember in that time, I was just like, wow, they just don't change it in the middle like that. Like, they can do that.
Right, like, are we sure we can do this right now?
Yeah. And so I was really confused. So how do you feel like that impacted kind of your trajectory of being in school?
So starting out, practicals were definitely a harder thing for me. And that's when I learned, like, I have to be hands-on. I have to, like, actually be there to be able to touch physically and kind of learn that way. And first semester, I did pretty okay with the practicals. I was kind of skating by. It wasn't too hard. And then that second semester, after everything changed and you had to have a B on that practical and you had to have a B in the class, we took, what was it? It was a head and spine class. I'll never forget that class. That class was a little bit more difficult because that professor was a little bit more on the jumbled side of things. Yeah. It's like she didn't have her ducks in a row, so it was hard for us to have our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And so this was during the time, I think we had like a really bad snowstorm and they actually canceled classes. They canceled one of our practicals. So then we only had one practical in the class. So I had to pass that one practical in order to pass that class, which I'm like, okay, we can do it. Ended up taking the practical, and I think I probably got like maybe like mid-70s on the practical because it was a couple things I did mess up on. And having that C on the practical made me fail the class. So in order to pass the class, you had to pass the practicals with a B. And they were like, so since you didn't get a B, we have to fail you in that class. And mind you, I was getting a B, like a high B in the class with all the other coursework. And ended up having to be in the class afterwards except for that practical. And that bumped me down to an F. And that exactly, that F is what got me dismissed from the program. Mind you, first class that I want to say I messed up on a little bit. And ended up having a conversation with the director of the program, and she was like, okay, we really enjoy you in the program. This is what you have to do over the summer in order to get readmitted back into the program. So she even gave me a whole plan, a whole option. So she was like, basically just during the summer, you just have to show us that you want to be in the program. Show us something that proves to us that basically you have kind of fine-tuned your study skills. You've kind of found like an internship or something like that to kind of keep your knowledge fresh. And I did end up getting the athletic training internship with the Chicago Sky.
Yes. I'm like, please mention that. That is such a huge deal.
So I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm doing good. So basically learning everything, documenting my hours so I can show them like, hey, I was there this amount of time. We did this, and this. And girl, ended up applying. I kept her updated all summer throughout. And she had me so hopeful. She was like, oh, this is great. You're doing great. Girl, emailed them and applied back for that next year.
Cohort.
Yeah, the next cohort. They were like, yeah, no.
Really?
We're not going to let you back in. I said, oh, okay. This is great. And girl, after that, it was down. It was a downward spiral.
Really?
Yeah, because I was hurt. I'm like, I literally did all of this work for nothing, it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I was like, what was the point of me putting all of this effort into something and I have nothing to show for it, basically.
Mm-hmm. But it
So
was, I just want to say, it was not for nothing.
Oh,
You
I know
got
that
an
now.
internship with the Chicago Sky. Like, that
Yes.
in itself, I was bragging about you, girl. Like, that in
Thank
itself
you.
is just so amazing to be courtside, like, just following your journey and, like, your TikTok and just seeing, like, how you were incorporating athletic training with those athletes. And it was just so amazing and so beautiful to see. So I want you to know that was definitely not for
Thank
nothing.
you.
And sometimes we just get redirected in different ways. And you were meant to have that experience and that time with sports, because you could add that to your resume.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for what you went through, you would have never gotten that opportunity. So that is also a blessing in itself, that you got to work aside the Chicago Sky. Like,
Yes.
what? Not a lot of people can say that. I haven't even been to a game.
And
you
funny,
were courtside.
Oh, yes. And what's funny is I got dismissed, I want to say like early March, maybe like March 9th-ish, around there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the call for the interview like March 14th-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So literally like within a week, 2 weeks or so, everything just kind of flipped for me. And I was like, okay, I might be doing something. I might actually be good at this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great. Like, I definitely look back on that experience like not many people can say that they actually did that. And we're able to work with professional athletes. Shout out to them because they were wonderful. But it was a great experience. Love them. Like, I would talk about that for years.
I literally just watching your page, I'm like, oh my God, that's my friend, y'all. I'm just so proud of you for having that opportunity. And I feel like when you went back to apply to the school, like, did they give you any reason as to why? Or did they say, like, hey, this is what was, like, wrong about this application, even though you were in contact with her the whole time? Was there any conversation as to, like, what was it in your application this time around, even though you had done all the things? Like, what was it? No.
There was nothing.
Okay.
Literally. So I applied. I had to apply back through the school, of course. And I got the rejection from the school. I emailed, I want to say, the person in charge of the program, and I want to say my advisor. I'm like, hey, so what happened? Never really heard back.
So they never responded to you? Oh, wow. That is so rare. I feel like normally I've gotten my fair share of rejections, and I feel like normally I would always reach back out to the school, the directors, send them an email and just ask, like, hey, I know I know I didn't get into the program, but I would love to hear your reasoning as to why and how I can strengthen my application for next time around.
Well, actually, you know what? They did respond, but it was the director of the program. She responded, but not to my question. She was like, yeah, we're just not gonna do it this go around.
So it didn't really give you any constructive feedback for you.
She could have just kept the response at this point.
Yeah, and I feel like that in itself is hurtful, because it's just like, I don't know what to change moving forward. Exactly. Like, I don't know what was it about my application? Like, you work for the Chicago Sky, like, it doesn't get any higher.
Like, where else can I go? The NBA? NFL?
Yeah, it doesn't get any higher than that. So it's just like, to have that experience, that background, like, that's athletic training to a T. So it's like, for you to give me the advice and then to come back and then not accept me back into the program after I've done all the things. It's just like, how did we get here? You know? And I feel like a lot of times, at least from my perspective as a student and applying to schools, there has been times where I applied to schools. Well, I applied to schools a lot of times, but I remember specifically applying to, like, one school like 3 times, and I still didn't get in. And my feelings were hurt bad. And I was just like, I really wanted to go to this school. Like, what is it? And I would reach out, and I would ask them, and it was always the same thing. It was always my GRE. Like, I'm a terrible test taker. So I knew it was my GRE, which is why I eventually went back to get my master's and, like, tried it again and still didn't get in. So my feelings were definitely hurt. So I definitely can relate to, like, how it feels when you go through all the things and you have taken the time and you still are getting the experience in your field, and then to still be denied. So I know how that feeling is. It's like you're putting in all this work, but to your point, I don't want you to ever think that anything that you did during that season was a waste. It was definitely,
of course,
it was definitely not a waste. And I feel like a lot of time God redirects us in different ways and different avenues, and you were redirected for that season, and you were able to have that experience under your belt. So I'm just so proud of you for that
Thank
experience
you.
and just for being, just staying very, like staying the course of what you wanted to do. And so I just wanted to say I'm really proud of you for that.
Thank you, girl.
Was there ever, I want to ask you, was there ever a process to appeal?
Oh, no.
Okay. Because that is very interesting to me when schools don't have a process to appeal. And you all didn't have like a remediation. It was just kind of like one and done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's crazy is I feel like, so during that time, like taking the practicals and stuff, my the professor, she's the head of the program, she noticed, she was like, you get really nervous when you're taking these practicals. Like I can notice like your heart rate is going up, you're starting to sweat a little bit. So she's basically the one who told me to kind of seek out assistance for test anxiety. And that's where I found out that I have really bad test anxiety when it comes to performing in front of other people. And so basically during the summer, I kind of got all that taken care of, and I was ready to like submit paperwork and kind of, I forgot what the
get like accommodations.
Yeah. Just so like she sees like, hey, I'm taking
effort.
care of this and all that good stuff. But I've learned that being with the Chicago Sky really helped with that. Like having to perform certain injury exams and all that stuff in front of other people.
Right on the spot.
Exactly. And they're like, okay, what's wrong? We have to send her back out to play. You got 5 minutes. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So that kind of helped. And I was like, okay, I kind of got this under my belt now. And I'm like, I can do this. So yeah, that I love that experience. But yeah.
And so then where do you feel like you are at now? Like, are you still applying to schools? Is athletic training something you still want to pursue?
So I'm not applying to schools at the moment, but athletic training is definitely something I still want to do. I'm not applying because, you got to have money to get back in grad school.
School is very expensive.
And especially since I've already gotten a master's. Apparently I've run out of whatever financial aid I can get. So next time I go back to school, it's all out of pocket. So I'm like, now I'm at the process to where I'm trying to save up, trying to get into a position to where like I'm working for somebody and they're kind of helping me pay tuition. But yeah, definitely want to get back into it, just not applying right now.
And I'm so sorry that has unfortunately been the case where they have changed the amount of loans that you can take out. I think the maximum now is what, 50 or 100? I'm not really sure on the number, but I just know for a fact
it's not enough to cover
I know for a fact
thing.
it's not enough for school. And speaking from someone who has 3 degrees and have started over twice, like these things cost money. And so my loans are definitely knocking. But
okay, got that email today.
But in any case, it's just like for them to max out the amount that you can take out, it really limits. It limits a lot of students on their ability to continue to pursue higher education, which in itself is just an issue. Because without my loans, there is no way possible I would be sitting right here with you today with my doctorate degree. Because my doctorate degree alone was over $100K for that one degree. And so with me starting over, changing schools, my master's and my undergrad, like that all adds up. And so I just want to commend you for continuing to pursue athletic training, even though that has been something that has been like a barrier that has been thrown your way. So I just want to say I'm very proud of you for continuing to pursue it, even though it's harder nowadays. Like that makes things a lot harder, not being able to get the loans that you need in order to pursue education. Like that makes things a lot harder. I wanted to ask you, going into athletic training school for the second time, because I'm already going to speak it into existence that you're going to get in. What do you feel like you would change going into it the second time around?
Definitely my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So first time around, mind you, I already have 2 degrees. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a walk in the park.
Yeah.
And I feel like going in with that mindset kind of messed me up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just thought everything was gonna be easy. That's how it was for me, like in high school and even in undergrad. It felt like everything came to me a little bit more naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easier to kind of like study for an hour, pass the test.
Yeah.
Now I know I have to put in more work, and that's where that mindset thing has to come in. I have to stay consistent, and I have to be disciplined with myself.
Yeah.
Being disciplined is one of, I don't want to say one of the hardest things for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's hard when it comes to like going to the gym or kind of eating healthy, you know. And with school, it was definitely hard. Just being disciplined with myself, setting aside time to study, setting aside time to like actually stay at the school and study with the tools that I need to study with. Cause like I don't have an ultrasound or TENS unit
Yeah.
or all that stuff at home. So actually setting aside the time to be present in school.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I feel like working as much as I did while being in the program did not help at all. So I want to be in the position to be like, okay, I don't have to work as much. Like, yes, if I need a job, work 15 hours a week or something. But I think I was probably putting in like full-time hours with being a full-time grad student. And that's kind of where everything kind of got rocky.
Yeah. And I remember you doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, girl.
You're like, please sit down.
I'm like, what is going on? What are you doing here? Go study.
You're like, don't you have a test tomorrow?
Like, and you're like, yeah, I do. And it's just like, to your point, the whole like working while in school, it's like I also tried that, and I felt like the mindset that I had, which is so crazy because it's like a lot of people are not given the opportunity where they cannot work, and we all feel like we need to work. I mean, life is still very expensive. You still have your phone bill, you still have your car note, you still have all these things, but like you're in school. And so I felt like during the time where I was in school, I decided to work, but the moment that I felt like work was taking over, where I wasn't allowed to study, I had to let it go. And I'm like, the money is just not worth it anymore at this point. If I'm not allowed to study and I'm not allowed to give time to my studies, this is not worth it. Like, okay, I'm not going to be able to afford such and such, but like at this stage of my life, like I need to lean on family and like ask them to support me. Like this is only such a short period of time. So I feel like to your point, it's like, okay, I need the money, but like what's more important here? Is it your studies, or is it getting whatever little money that you are during that time? Not to say that was a little money, but it's like it's not the money that you would be getting once you have your degree.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like there would be times where, so I remember distinctly, I would have classes Tuesday and Thursday mornings, and I would come right to work, like right after class. I would only have like a hour and a half to get from school to work, mind you, hour drive. And there would be times where I would have classmates and friends like, hey, we're going to stay after class today to work on this or to study this. And I'm like, sorry guys, I got to work. And that's the part to where I'm like, dang, if only I was able to stay and actually put forth that effort to study, I feel like things would have turned out differently.
Yeah.
So working definitely put a strain on everything.
Yeah, but I feel like now you're in a space where you can take a step back and be like, hey, now I have gone through this, I've seen what it's like, and now I can utilize this experience going into this second time. Because I think that you taking that reflection time is definitely necessary and it's needed. And so I know that it's going to set you up for success when you reapply and get accepted and get back into ATC school. So I feel like that's the first step, is really reflecting and allowing yourself to know, like, okay, this is what I need to change. So as we wrap up, what is like an advice you would give to someone who is going through a dismissal in athletic training school, or just a dismissal in general?
My advice would to just be kind to yourself. Because for me, I know that when everything happened, I was so hard on myself. Like, got depressed. I started therapy. And I felt like I didn't have anyone I could talk to about it, like family-wise, because I'm basically the first gen doing everything in my family. So it's like when I would talk to them about it, they would be like, oh, it's okay. just try again. And me, in my head, I'm like, no, it's not okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's that firstborn thing too, where you gotta do everything perfectly.
Yeah.
And I think I just put so much on myself. And looking back at it, I'm like, why was I so hard on myself? Literally, I had the internship with the sky. I was doing so many things, but I was still hard on myself, at the end of the day. And nobody really kind of noticed it because I did so well hiding it. But just be kind to yourself. Love on yourself, because during that time, it's really going to test you. It's really going to make you think about, do you really want this? And if you really want it, you just got to kind of shake it off and get back to it.
Yeah, that is so amazing. And I just love that you were able to share your journey with those that are listening, because you never know who needs this message. And especially coming from an athletic trainer perspective and kind of your background. So as we wrap up, can you share with our listeners your socials, where they can find you if they have any questions in regards to applying to school and getting any internships, with the Chicago Sky?
Yes. So on Instagram and TikTok, my name is at itskristennavina, ITSKRISTENNAVINA on Instagram and TikTok. And then I also have a exercise science page on Instagram, and that's itskristennavina_MS. So yeah.
Okay, so I'll definitely be sure to add that into the info, the description and bio, to have people follow you, which they definitely should. I love your TikTok. So thank you so much for just being here today and for sharing your story and just being so open and willing and to allow this space for other people to kind of relate. So thank you so much for being here.
And thank you for having me.
Yes, I know. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of Dismissed to Doctor. If you all know anyone who is going through athletic training school and they would benefit from this episode, please be sure to share it with them. Also, if you know anyone who has gone through a dismissal, academic probation, or suspension, I have a free Dismissed to Doctor Facebook group. So please be sure to share that with them as well. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you.